Good day, everyone. I am Vangeline de Vera, and here is my Pecha Kucha for the Netflix series called The Playlist. So, let's take a quick description of the Netflix series. So, it is inspired by the book Spotify Untold that fictionalizes the story of how Spotify was created, tracing the journey of the tech Swedish entrepreneur Daniel Ek and his partners as they take on the music industry back in 2008, 2007, 2008. So here, this is the odyssey of Daniel Ek on the music industry. So, upon watching the Netflix series, numerous episodes stop made me stop and ponder the some main points, namely strategy and competitiveness, how Daniel Ek overcomes the business in e-commerce, data and knowledge management, ethics and privacy, and acquiring information systems and applications in their time, Spotify. So let's go. Let's go to the strategy and competitiveness. So the disruption, the Spotify strategy to disrupt the existing music industry. So in the episode one of the series, before Spotify, the music industry was stuck into extremes, namely piracy, which is the becoming rampant at their time, the website Pirate Bay, if you know the website. Or the second one is the paid downloads. In their time is the iTunes. So piracy was convenient and free, but illegal because they tend to steal the musics of the singers without without them getting paid. So while iTunes was legal but expensive and inconvenient for heavy listeners. So the Spotify strategy, Daniel Ek, disrupted this by offering legal, instant, and quote unquote free streaming with ads alongside the premier paid tier. This shifted the industry from an business model of ownership, like, say, for example, buying CDs or songs in the major record labels, to an access model, their business model, Spotify's model, the streaming unlimited music. It reframed the value of music, prioritizing convenience and choice over physical or digital ownership. This disruption forced competitors like Apple, YouTube, and Amazon to adapt their own streaming services. So, number two is the competitive advantages of Spotify. So, Spotify's main edge was its user experience. So, in the episode 1 and 2 of the series, Daniel Ek made a team of coders he got. So, they built thousands, hundreds, if not thousands, of codes for their application to have fast streaming, minimal buffering, massive music library, and a sleek app. So this built trust and loyalty among users who have pirated. Another advantage was network effects since it is running in online with the use of internet, not the physical buying of one product and s- storing it in your house. Network effects, the more users Spotify gain, the stronger its bargaining power with record labels. It is also positioned itself in the quote unquote anti piracy partner, framing itself not only as enemy of the labels but as their solutions. Because at first, record labels tend to hate free, quote unquote free listening to music because they thought it is stealing from the artists themselves. So, being the first mover in the legal streaming space gives Spotify a critical head start, creating high entry barriers for late competitors. Next is the how did the founders' vision address piracy and created a competitive edge? So my take on this is that the team of Daniel Ek and Martin Lawrenson, his partner at the time, their vision was to I would um, quote this in the series itself. They called it music should be free but legal. So instead of punishing users for piracy, they designed a service that was better than privacy, legal, instant, and safer. By making the free tier ad supported, they converted millions of pirates into legitimate users without asking them to pay upfront. So basically, they did this business model that is when you download the app, it is free to listen to music, but when you click on the specific song, pop-up ads would appear. So by doing this, it is legal, and they also have a premium tier, which means you'll pay money to get those ads off of that application. So this created a bridge, somewhat of a bridge between customers, artists, and record labels. The competitive edge came from solving both sides' pain points. So the main point is labels got revenue and control, while users got convenience and access to their music. So in the business and e-commerce, first is the struggles with major record labels. So at the first half of the series, Daniel Ek is have a major problem with record labels because they wouldn't sign Spotify because they don't like free music. So record labels, but then when they saw the potential of Spotify, record labels worried that streaming would cannibalize album sales and reduce artists' income. So Spotify responded by offering revenue sharing. They called it revenue sharing, meaning labels and artists would earn from streams instead of losing money to piracy. Spotify framed itself as an ally against privacy. Every stream generated income, no matter how small, and the alternative generated nothing. They also gave labels data insights to listener behavior, which I will be talking later on this PowerPoint, something labels had never done before. So basically, this softens resistance by showing how Spotify could expand music consumption and open new markets. So, what revenue streams were shown? So basically, the Spotify had two main streams. Again, as I said earlier, they have ad-supported free tier. You wouldn't pay anything, but Spotify sold an ad space. So this helped build scale quickly but low margins. Advertisers were willing to pay for access to young, tech-savvy audiences. Like at that time, it's like Gen Z. So another one is the premium subscription. It is the monthly fee which removed ads and unlock features like offline listening. So this becomes the stable, high margin revenue source. But over the time, Spotify experimented with partnership like telecom bundles, exclusive podcasts, and branded playlists. But in the series, the playlist, the focus was on ads versus subscription. So the challenge of this is the ads, rapid user growth, and mass adaptation. Their challenge was advertisers limited in early markets and revenue per user was low. Then subscription opportunity was scaled to millions globally. Conversion rates were initially low at first, especially when in countries used to piracy like Sweden and America. So next is the data knowledge and management. So how did the Spotify handle technical challenges of streaming millions of songs? So from the start, the Spotify needed a system that could deliver instant, low latency music playback. Um, so their minimal buffering, they said on the series itself, the word instant is zero point 0.2 seconds of comprehension of the brain. So unlike YouTube and or iTunes, Spotify used peer-to-peer network in its early days, letting users share bandwidth with each other. So this cut costs and improved speed. The platform had also store catalog and deliver millions of tracks while updating libraries as new music was licensed. So how did they manage data and knowledge? Spotify created a robust back-end system to handle. We call it metadata. Metadata consists of song titles, artists, albums, genres, and rights of ownership. They developed algorithms to say process this huge knowledge of data efficiently. By organizing and indexing this data, Spotify ensured users could instantly search, discover, and curate music without friction. And lastly, the role of analytics in this. So, well, I think they created tracked users' listening behavior and personalization. Basically, what this means is they tend to study your music history to somewhat personalize your application, your listening experience. So, in ethics and privacy, um, ethical dilemmas of the artist's compensation. So basically, Spotify's model raised debate over how fairly artists were paid. Streaming pays fraction of a cent per play, meaning smaller and independent artists often struggled to make sustainable income. So meaning if hindi ka sikat, onti onti ang makukuha mong pera. Critics argued that Spotify benefited more than musicians, while Spotify countered that it provided exposures and new fans. So next is how could Spotify's handling of user data be a privacy concern. So when new technology arises, new problems also arises. So Spotify collected extensive data. I'll know that. So while this allowed for personalized recommendation, it also raised concerns about surveillance, profiling, and monetization of user behavior. So the information systems and applications. So the key technical requirements and challenges of Spotify had to be fast, scalable, and cross-platform, meaning you can cross-platform, meaning you can open it in your desktop, laptop, mobile phones, and smart speakers. So it needed low buffering streaming, or they call it instant play, huge storage and catalog indexing, and built-in house streaming tech. So build build versus acquire. Spotify built its core streaming tech and user interface in-house. This was a secret sauce, but it relied on external solutions for generic functions like, say, payment processing, cloud hosting, and ad networks. So they partnered with and external payment processors ad networks. So their strategy was they made decisions based on scalability, own the unique tech, and outsource the generic bunch of applications. So, so in conclusion, Spotify revolutionized music industry by turning piracy into an opportunity. Spotify disrupted not just music sales but how we experience culture. So I'll leave you with the quote, which is from the series itself. Spotify wasn't just about streaming, it was about reshaping the soundtrack
Here's a
of the
recipe by
digital
Shaggy on
age.
Spotify.
It is about the reshaping of soundtrack of the digital age. Thank you for listening.